In 2007, a company called RegisterFly imploded. 2 million domain names for 900,000 customers dangling over a cliff. The websites, the email addresses, the businesses built on those names, all at risk. And the only organization with the authority to step in was a small nonprofit in Los Angeles, armed with nothing but a contract. That nonprofit is ICANN, and this is the story of how a piece of paper ended up running the naming layer of the internet. The name is ICANN, the Internet Corporation for Assigned Names and Numbers. A nonprofit headquartered in Los Angeles, brought into existence in 1998 for one deceptively simple job: govern the domain name system. DNS is the chain that turns the address you type into a destination your browser can find. Without it, the web is just machines shouting numbers at each other. Somewhere there is a single file, the root zone. It is the master list of every top-level domain operator on Earth. VeriSignRuns.com, PIRRuns.org, NominatRuns.uk. Every time you type a web address, the lookup traces back to this file. And ICANN controls it because in 1998, the United States government handed them the keys. Before ICANN, there was John Postel, a quiet researcher at the University of Southern California, working under a Department of Defense contract. If you wanted a new top-level domain in the early internet, you emailed John. He would decide. That system worked beautifully for a few thousand researchers who all knew each other. But by the mid-1990s, the internet had become a commercial gold rush, and one man with an email inbox was no longer enough. In 1998, the US government created ICANN and kept it on a leash, a contract that could be revoked. Other countries were nervous. After the Snowden revelations in 2013, that nervousness turned into outright demand for change. Then, in 2016, the US contract expired. Washington let go. ICANN became independent, answering not to any single government, but to what they call the multi-stakeholder community. Multi-stakeholder governance sounds noble until you see it in action. Registries, registrars, governments, the technical community, civil society, and business, they all get a seat at the table. When Amazon the company wanted the .amazon domain, South American nations objected. The fight lasted 7 years. The process is slow, contested, and occasionally absurd. But here is the remarkable thing. It has held together for more than 25 years without fracturing. ICANN is not a regulator. It has no police force, no legislative power. What it has is a contract, the Registrar Accreditation Agreement. Every company that sells domain names signs it. Violate the terms, and ICANN terminates your accreditation. You can no longer operate. That is exactly what happened to RegisterFly in 2007. As one ICANN official put it, we rely mainly on contract law, a piece of paper, but one with teeth. It is tempting to say ICANN runs the internet. It does not. Content moderation belongs to governments and platforms. Routing, how data actually travels between networks, is handled by ISPs and the BGP protocol. The Internet Engineering Task Force defines the protocols. The W3C and WhatWG set web standards. ICANN controls one layer, naming and numbers. But it is the layer that makes everything else addressable. Could someone just build a different route? Technically, yes. OpenNIC tried. Namecoin tried with blockchain. Handshake raised millions to try. None gained meaningful adoption. The network effects are simply too strong. Even China, which controls its domestic internet more than any other nation, still uses the ICANN route. Breaking away is not just technically possible, it is economically ruinous. The cost of fragmentation is always higher than the cost of staying. So who actually runs the internet? The honest answer is strange. A nonprofit in California. Messy consensus among people who often disagree. Contracts, not laws. Collective agreement, not sovereign authority. It is not a government. It is not a company. And somehow, it has worked for more than 25 years. The next time you type a domain name into your browser, remember, behind that simple act is a 1998 handoff, a 2016 independence agreement, and a piece of paper that GoDaddy signed.